No. Fantastic. So thank you for being here. I am super excited to see you. This is one of my favorite things that I do, and I do loads and loads and loads of different things at Newcastle University. But my name is Jenny Brady. I'm the lead for Action for Impact, and I'm part of a big team across the 4 universities that help make this type of training happen for people like yourselves. So today, we've got a full cohort of early career researchers and mid-career researchers. So you're all researchers, and I'm not. So I'm the imposter in the room. I'm the one who's here with a different viewpoint to you. But I've been working with people like yourselves for well over 10 years, doing training like this, lots of different events, and getting into the mindset and the behavior of researchers. So you're in good hands. We know what we're doing. We've done this a few times before. And today we're going to spend a bit of time just explaining what it is. Why are you here, and what are we going to do with you, and what are you going to do with each other and for each other, but more importantly for yourselves. So what we're aiming to get from this for you. So today's session is the first of 5 live sessions. We're going to start now. And we're here till about 11:30, but we won't go beyond that time. We might not take up all of that time, but we won't run over because we completely understand that you are really busy people. And it's a chance for you to meet one another, to get to know us as well, and to get your head into the right space to really learn some useful things for yourselves. So as I said, I'm Jenny. There's a few other people in the room who are going to be joining us, certainly for today. I'd like to introduce Jackie. So give us a wave, Jackie. Hello. Jackie is our tech and event management extraordinaire. Jackie is somebody to make good friends with, particularly if you've got any issues with tech, or you've got any questions that you need in terms of process and things like that. So you've got Jackie's contact details in the welcome pack, and she's as available to you as possible, as am I. You'll also notice that we have Sarah Beach. Sarah is part of the team that I work with at Newcastle University, and Laura Brown. I'm looking for her, can't see her. There she is, marvellous. Both Laura and Sarah are here to observe what happens. Now, they're not here to take notes about what Carl has said and what Marina will be doing. They're here just to have a look at what happens as part of Action for Impact, because it's likely that they'll be involved in the future. So they'll take a step back in terms of getting involved, but they are here and will be dipping in and out of the live sessions. We've been doing this course for quite a long time now, and you are cohort number 9, and it's changed an awful lot over the years. So we began in 2018, and we've learned a lot since then. So today's a good opportunity for us to explain a bit more about that as well, and what it is that we aim for you to get from this. You won't be sitting here just listening to me. We're going to get you having a chat with one another, but we do everything in a very supportive way. It is immersive learning. It is an opportunity for you to get involved and do some stuff, but we do that very mindfully of what's going on in the world right now. So although we're going to be challenging you, you're going to be doing something quite unusual, some things that you're not used to doing in the lab or the office or your workplace, and that's mainly our dining rooms at the minute, isn't it? It's going to be something that helps you to think differently, to stretch your capabilities, apply an awful lot of what it is that you're already great at, but we'll do that in as supportive an environment as we possibly can. So ask for help, and don't be shy to say, I'm not sure what's going on, because that's what we're here to help you with. Let's have a quick look. So currently you're all on mute. Thank you for doing that. Just a couple of guidelines for what we're here to do today. If you're not, then please pop that on. You can choose who you are today as well. So if you don't want to be Kate, you can change your name to whatever you want to be. So you can reinvent yourself if you want, and have a persona of somebody who tries something out of the ordinary. Have a go at that. So you choose who you are, and we'll go with that. I've mentioned the recording as well, and we'll upload the Canvas recordings as soon as we can after the session. So every session will be recorded and we will make those available to you. They can't be downloaded, they can't be shared outside of the canvas, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. But we won't record any breakout rooms. So if you feel like going, oh, hello, in the breakout rooms, then you're safe to do that. So don't worry too much about that. I'm just looking through my notes, because we've got so much to throw at you in the first session. It can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming, so it'll slow down in a minute. Don't worry about that. So let's find out a little bit more about who we've got in the room. I know some of you have joined in with the chat on the Teams channel, so thank you for that. We've already got Kate, was it you that was doing the 24-hour basketball tournament? Which 24 hours of basketball? Anybody else done that? Anyone else managed an hour of basketball? Exactly, Kate, you are an absolute superstar. This is something that we're going to have to delve into a little deeper at some point, I think. We've got pasta makers, we've got crochet experts, we've got ukulele players already. So you're in good hands. We are a merry band of people who do wild and weird and wonderful things. So please take some time after the session to let us know a bit more about you. And I really mean about you, not about your research. We're not talking about your research today. We're not going to let you. We're going to find out a bit more about who you are, because that's kind of the point of Action for Impact. It's about researcher development rather than research development. You've got loads of expectations that your research will become a certain thing for a certain reason, but who is it behind that research, and why are you doing that research in the first place? So normally at this point, I would ask you to let me know what the view is out of your window, but I've changed my mind. What I'd like to know in the chat, if you've all got access to that, is to let us know your name, which university you are based at for the most of the time, because I know some of you work in a few, and one word that describes how you're feeling right now. Go. Let's have a look. So one word: excited. Thank you, Stacey. Excited at what are we, 10 minutes past 10 in the morning? This is a great start. Inspired. Thank you, Adriana. Brilliant. I'm feeling cold. I've got cold hands right now. But I think because I do a lot of this, by the end of it, I'll be nice and warmed up. Curious. This is a very natural place for researchers to be curious. Thank you. Happy. Woo! Excited, happy, fantastic. Okay, curious. Now, I'm wondering if there's a few different meanings for the word curious. Does it mean that you're going, what is going on? Does it mean you're going, oh, tell me more? Or does it mean that you're a little bit odd? Because curious can sometimes mean that people are slightly strange. Interested, lucky. That's lovely. I'm very pleased that you feel lucky. That's brilliant and energized. Right. Have you all been out running this morning? I know that my colleague Sarah went for a run. No, okay, good. I feel like you can stay then. If you haven't been out for a run, you are very welcome to stay, because that kind of activity scares me. Cold, yes, me too. Okay, Sarah, no worries. All right, wonderful. Thank you. So far, so positive. This is great. Oh, you've done some yoga. Right, Kate, you need to stop showing off with all of this activity. That's I think it's very inspiring. I think I need to move more, and then my hands wouldn't be quite so cold. Okay, great. Well, welcome everybody. I'm glad that you're all feeling positive and upbeat. This is the type of energy that we want to bring to the program. During the weeks, you'll be sort of left to your own devices for the most part, and then we'll come back and we'll do this every week. So it's nice that you've had the opportunity to have a look at each other and see that we're all starting from a similar point of view, which is what's going on, but I'm interested and quite excited too. So that's brilliant. Right, I'm going to share some screens with you so that we can have a little bit more information. Now let's have a look. Is that going to work? So hopefully now you should be able to see a screen that says what is Action for Impact on there. Okay, thank you. Cool. So just to give you a bit more of the background, I mentioned briefly that the program began in 2018, and it was quite a scrum really to get us to the point of where we're at today. We started with very little, a deadline and some money, and nothing else. And so we've created quite an established and well-respected program from a very sort of quick start, if you will. Originally, it was a collaboration between Newcastle University and Durham University. And although I'm based at Newcastle and most of the team are, it's very much an opportunity for the 4 universities to collaborate, to work alongside each other, and to access all the support that you might not have found out about otherwise. So we're really good at opening doors for you to say, I need some help with some funding, some networking, to understand about IP, to really understand about what impact means at my university. And we can connect you very happily with all of those people and all of those resources. So if nothing else, you'll certainly, you'll extend your network, and it's a very active network as well. So we are really good at that. It's also reassurance, hopefully, for you to see that we've done this before, and we've done a digital version as well. So originally we started, and you'll see from photographs, this unusual thing of people working in very close contact with one another in opulent surroundings. I haven't done that for a really long time. But we actually started as a 3-day residential, very intensive, 8 o'clock starts, 10 o'clock finishes, at 10 o'clock at night, not just 2 hours later. And it was an opportunity for people to really get themselves out of the office, out of the lab, and really focus on their own personal and professional development. And it's those types of principles and actions and activities that we've lifted from the original intensive residential to the digital version. And we've run one digital on-demand program last summer. And I'm pleased to say that we're still at 100% of participants, and that's well over 200 who 100% of them have said that they would recommend it. So we've had a go at this before. You are in good hands. Around about a year ago, actually a year and a bit ago now, we started to collaborate with Northern Accelerator, and that helped us to welcome University of Sunderland and Northumbria University into the mix as well. And that's with the Northern Accelerator program. And it's worth you getting to know Northern Accelerator. In the positions that you are at your career, they are really good contacts for all of the things I mentioned previously about resources and what have you. So I think that it's worth you getting to know the team there, and to really ask of them what they can offer you. And throughout the program, I'll refer to appropriate and specific resources and people that I would recommend you get in touch with. And you can also come to me and say, Jenny, I need this, and we'll help you to team up with who can help with that. But Northern Accelerator is funded by Research England. So it's a really established, spotlighted resource for researchers to really develop you as professionals, and to open up some of the career prospects, let's say. So the employability side of it, but also about what can you do better tomorrow to help your lives become easier, for you to sleep more at night, and to really enjoy what it is that you're doing, rather than just slug through it, because sometimes research can feel like a never-ending story of lots of effort. So it's a way for you to really tap into some help. I also wanted to point out that in the photos you can see here, they're doing something slightly different to what your normal day probably looks like. So they're playing jigsaws and they're creating quilts out of cotton. It sounds really weird. At some point we've got photos of people knitting as well. So for the crochet fans, that might be something that you're interested in. And the point of that is, although all of this sounds wild and weird and what, I'm a professional researcher, I'm not here to do jigsaws. All of this is grounded in sound pedagogy. We know what we're doing, and it's scientifically proven that allowing grown-ups to play will enable you to really think differently and to reignite that curiosity that you all have naturally as researchers and apply that into your professional setting. So remembering what it was like to be a kid and to think, well, how big could this be, or what can I achieve today? we sometimes forget about that as we get further and further into our professional careers, and Action for Impact is a brilliant opportunity to give you full permission to have a play. And you'll see that that will unfold as the weeks go on. That's absolutely the fundamental principle of this. So it gives you the chance to do something differently. So as I've said, we know what we're doing, but that said, things are going to go wrong. And I would ask for your forgiveness and for your permission up front, and your patience as well. You know, currently things are upside down. I don't know anyone right now who is loving this. We've all got some positive things and some tricky things from our current situations, and we're very mindful of that. Things were turned upside down only very recently all over again. And so we're going to work through the program, as I've said already, with lots of support. We're going to challenge you, we're going to push you, but only so far, only so that it still feels purposeful. Everyone here is naturally supportive. It's what we're good at. And you will find that actually it's safe to try something different, like the play idea, and to really ask questions that you might feel you can't do in your normal professional setting. I don't understand this. Can you tell me more about that? That's exactly what we're asking you to harness throughout all of this. And I've made myself as available as I possibly can to you during the program. So keep talking to me, but also to each other as well. Overlook the technical glitches. There's going to be some of them. Celebrate the wins and the chance to really focus on yourself while you can. We might be interrupted by my 7-year-old who might burst through the door at any minute, especially if it starts snowing or if Horrible Histories is finished. So we might welcome him into the room as well. So if anybody's cat walks past the screen, or if anybody finds that the delivery people have arrived, I think we've had this before where somebody had a wheelbarrow being delivered. So share with us, you know, we're all part of this fun thing that we're trying to do here. Okay, so let's move on. I'm working over 2 screens as well. Never done that before. Feel a bit like an airline pilot. So let's see. Oh, it works. Fantastic. We talk about positive impact a lot. I've read through lots of your submissions. You've let me know what you want to get out of this, which is really helpful because these live sessions can be flexed and adapted to what you need. We don't have a script for this part at least. And it gives you the chance to say, I'm interested in this more, tell me more about that. And also to think about impact. And what we mean about impact is whatever it means to you. So I work with researchers across all research interests at every stage, from PGR, postgraduate researcher, right up until the top PIs, the scary people, and everybody in between. And impact means something different for everyone. If you talk about research impact, it means a specific thing, but even that, each university has got its own approach to that for the ref. And so we talk in a general term, and we ask you to really decide what that needs to be for you with regards to this program. So we work with you on personal impact. So how can you improve yourself as a professional researcher? I know some of you want to improve your pitching skills, or at least your presentation skills. Some of you need to ask for funding. How do you do that? Some of you want to break out of your comfort zone and really develop your network. So maybe for knowledge exchange partnerships, working in industry, or even just within your own organization. Some of you might be new and saying, I need to find out who the important and helpful people are. So that personal impact is something that we encourage you to make the most of, because outside of the program, that can sometimes feel like there's very little opportunity to do some of that. So go for that if you possibly can. We also think about societal impact, and this is fundamental for me and also for pretty much every researcher I've ever met. We talk about not just what you're good at, because you've been asked to evidence that at every stage of your career, but actually what are you good for? So what's the point of your research, and why are you the person to drive that forward? And what is it that you'll get from that? And how will you go about sharing the benefits of your research for those who will gain the most? So rather than just thinking I'm here to be impressive, it's actually what's the point of that? Where will that go and who will receive that and what will they gain from it? So keeping in mind, not just what are you good at, but what are you good for is a really good principle to return to in terms of what you get from this program. We also talk about commercial impact. Now, this isn't for everyone, and I understand that you're not here to start businesses, and I'll talk a bit more about that later. But for some of you, you might have ideas that are born of your current research, or it might be an idea that's been ticking around in the background for a little while, and you want to develop further. And there's so much help for people to do that, but it can be a bit overwhelming. So it can be that you've got an idea, but you don't know what to do with it, or it could be that maybe in the future, but I'm not interested now. So there's lots of different stages that people are coming to this program at, and we try our best to tailor the support to the individual. So let us know what you need, and there is a breadth of support and help for you, irrespective of where you're at right now. We can also talk about what you might need in the future. So impact itself really has to be decided by you. So you'll hear us talking about it in various different ways. The program aims, again, I'm repeating myself slightly, just have a quick look down that. Thinking really about what you're going to do next. Now, we've all been to courses where we go, very interesting, that's fascinating. Thank you very much for that information. Let me open my top drawer and I'll place all of my notes in there. And you end up with, nothing happening afterwards. We really focus here on what happens next. So I'm a professional coach by trade, and I'm always of the opinion that it's only useful to you if you're going to do something. So part of the reason for us to have these sessions, the live sessions, is to finish the feedback loop. We ask you to do something, you do something, hopefully, and we give you some feedback on that to enable you to apply it the very next day if that's appropriate for you. So this isn't a conference. It isn't something that you sit through and think, okay, could have spent 5 weeks doing something else, thanks very much. It's to progressively move you on and to help you to apply things with immediate effect if that's appropriate for you. Now, some of the things that we do, you'll use later, and some of the things we do, you've already done and you'll already be using for some of you. So I think it's interesting to try and really think about what you can get from that. And for some of you, there might be some repetition, as I say. So if you feel like you're an expert, or at least experienced in some of these principles that we're teaching, and you get to know other people in the cohort that are struggling, please offer your support. And there's two things that happen from that. You reestablish, you reawaken, and you reaffirm your expertise in this, but you also help somebody else get to the stage that you're at. And that fuzzy feel good is something I'm a big champion of. So the more that we can work as a community to help people make good choices for their next best steps, then we're winning. That's definitely a good result. This slide always makes me smile. I mean, as I mentioned already, I'm not a researcher. I never will be. I have full respect for everybody who takes on research, because it is all-encompassing. It doesn't go away on your birthday, it doesn't go away on Christmas Day or any other celebrations that you might have through that year. So we need to be really mindful about what life for a researcher is. And this isn't just from a PhD point of view, because I know that for the most part, most of you are past that point, although I know some of you are doing their first PhD or another PhD. This is more about the researcher mindset, but it's also about how people see researchers. So if you were to walk down Northumberland Street in Newcastle, for example, and ask what do researchers do, for the most part, the top 5 answers will include something like they save the world, they go to the moon, they are going to cure cancer. These are big things. There's a huge expectation out there of you. You're the academic elite. You're the ones who are going to solve the world's problems. And I agree with that to a certain extent, but with that comes an awful lot of pressure. And we're very careful to be mindful of that pressure. Quite a lot of the pressure comes internally as well. So really thinking at early career stage, early career researcher stage about your career prospects. Very often we're on short-term, fixed-term contracts. As soon as you get your contract, you're looking for the next one. Where's the fellowships? Where are the tenureships? What can I have that can help me establish myself in my field? And we're really aware of that, having worked with researchers for such a long time. And so part of the principle, again, of the program is to allow you to just pause for a bit. Now, pausing in the middle of a pandemic, a little bit harder than normal. We're aware of that as well. But just really giving you the chance to say, who am I? What's the point? Is it going the way I intended it to go? Am I getting enough from this? What slight changes can I make to make this better? And better can be for yourself. It can be better for your research participants or your funders or your university. But we really encourage you to think about yourself. You have full permission to have a selfish spotlight on, because again, you don't get much chance to do this outside of this program. So we know that people have really benefited from that, and they've taken what they would have previously considered a big risk as a result of applying this learning and this mindset into their future professional careers. So people have gone on to gain fellowships, create knowledge exchange partnerships, developed impact for the ref, and built prototypes to commercialize their research. I know of somebody who just let me know the other day that they applied for, it's not a competition, but a funding stream where they had to pitch over a month, and that's in the middle of pandemic, etc. And she's just achieved £1.6 million of funding for her cancer research project. And she said absolutely wouldn't have even stepped forward to have done that if she hadn't have had the principles embedded in her from this program. So we've got lots of examples of people who said, yeah, okay, then I'm going to think about myself for a bit. I'm not going to do this for my PI or my team. I'm going to do this for me. And as a result of that, everybody else benefits, because you come to work with the excitement and the buoyancy, pardon me, and the curiosity all the more invigorated. And that makes you much more engaged in what it is that you're doing. And lots of people benefit from that. We also realize that there needs to be some of that pressure lessened. So we give you the opportunity and the tools, as a toolkit involved in this, to have conversations with your team, or if you have a professor or a PI or a boss who needs some insight into your day, either to ask for help or to ask for things, just calm down, please. We give you the voice to do that with the backing and the credibility of where that's come from. So in terms of researcher life, we aim for you to improve that through going through this program. So hopefully that's reassurance that there's an immediate gain from this. Practicalities are, we have housed everything on Canvas, and with Canvas comes fun times. I don't know if anybody else is using Canvas at the minute. At Newcastle, we use it for work. So we all, as members of staff, have Canvas accounts. But if you work at Newcastle, which I do, and I put anything in a Canvas box, then nobody outside of Newcastle is allowed to look at that content. So we had to create a personal account. So some of you may have clicked on the link and it's taken you to your staff account. You need to open the Action for Impact January 2021 course link. Some of you might need to use the code as well. If you have issues with that, drop it in the chat and I'll be able to pick that up. And then individually we can go through it together and I'll get you linked up to the course. So if you've had any issues with that, I know most of you have managed to crack the code, prise the door open, and you're into Canvas, which is brilliant. If you have problems with it, do let me know, and between us we'll work it out, because we've seen every problem that could ever exist with Canvas and we've managed to get past all of them. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the program. This is an overview of what we're going to do over the next 5 weeks, starting today. So this is week 1 in a sense, but it's our first live session. You'll see me looking over here because, as I say, I'm on 2 screens. We used to fit the whole lot in person over 3 days, and we managed to transfer that to a digital offer last summer, as I mentioned, and the response from the digital offer was great. It works, but we need more time. So that was during lockdown as well, and people were homeschooling and all sorts of chaos. Everybody was upside down. So we're mindful of that, and we've stretched the program over 5 weeks, and it's to give you the opportunity to live your life, but also include the activities and the expectations of this program and get the best from it. So as I say, one thing that was reported back is time management is something to be aware of. What I've done in response to that is you'll see that the program is broken down into manageable, we hope, chunks of on-demand videos, so you can access this whenever you want. Some of you will work at 6 in the morning, some of you will get up and do it at 3 in the morning, some of you will watch them in the bath, I don't know, and you don't need to share that bit either, that's for you. You can share it if you want, but no photos. So we have been really mindful about your availability and your time. And however, there's a lot to do. This isn't the sort of program that you can do on Monday night in time for our chat on Tuesday. There's an awful lot to do. But as I say, we've broken it down into bite-sized chunks. After each video, there's going to be an activity. And for each week, there's around about between 6 and 8 videos to watch. All the videos are between 8 and 12 minutes. So we're not talking like an hour and a half each time. And the activities vary. And we've tried to think about how humans behave and how we all respond differently to things. So some stuff you will work together on, and I'll come on to that in a sec. Some stuff you'll do on your own. It's just about reflection and making a few notes for your own personal use. Some things are to watch some things and read some things. So there's a bit of a mix in there, and we found and we've been told that that's worked really well, so that you, depending on your mood, depending on what's filled your head that day, we encourage you to make some space every day for Action for Impact. But the world is changing every day. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? So we're conscious of that as well. And if you find that you're really struggling with what needs to happen, let me know, and we'll find a way to fast track you through it as best we can. But do be mindful that this takes some time to get the best from it. You can go back and rewatch what you want whenever you want, and that's throughout the whole 5 weeks as well. After today's session, I'll release all of the content for week 1. So you can go back into Canvas and you'll see, oh, there's loads of new stuff there. And that's you starting the program, that's you getting through it all. As I say, you can contact me at any point that you need to, and we'll get you to a point where you feel like it's working and that you're progressing through it in a way that is useful to you. If you find that you race through it, then come and show off, let us know, and I might help you. I might encourage you to help other people who are struggling, but we will start each week at the same time for everybody. I can't open up the content for you if you've gotten burned through it all. I'll ask you to help somebody else instead. So this is the team. Dr. Simon Brown is joining us next Tuesday, and his content will be released this afternoon. We're really lucky to have Simon. If you were to ever Google researcher development, you'll find Simon's smiley face next to it. He is somebody who has dedicated his career to really working out what the researchers need. For the most part, for early career researchers and mid-career researchers, he is a researcher himself, and he's done all sorts of crazy, wild and wonderful things all around the world. And he does this because he loves it, not because he has to, and that's what really comes out in his support and his teaching. He's fascinated by what you're all up to, and he wants to get to know you so he can connect you with others. Simon's very dedicated to ensuring that the researcher community is a really lively one and a fun one, but a purposeful one as well. So Simon will be able to really encourage you to think about who you are as a researcher and why, and what you want to get from your time as a researcher, and what might happen beyond that as well. So his is very involved. One of the activities is quite unusual. He is our jigsaw and quilt making expert. There won't be any jigsaws, unfortunately, because you're not together in a room, but there'll be another similar, quite unusual activity to do as a group. So I'm looking forward to finding out how you get on with that. No more clues, because obviously that's a big reveal this afternoon. Week 2 is research planning with Dr. Vicky Brown. So Vicky is a colleague of mine. I've worked with her for a really long time, and she is here to help you with the Researcher Canvas. And the Researcher Canvas is something that is a toolkit to help you have purposeful conversations. And I mentioned it briefly about having a conversation with your boss. What do you need to tell them about how your day is going? And the Researcher Canvas can really help you think and plot out where you're at now, where you're heading to, and what needs to happen in between. We found that this tool has been used in so many different ways that it's possibly one of the most valuable parts of this program. Some of you might be familiar with it, so you might be revisiting this, and that's not a bad thing, because things will have changed since you last had a look at it. So we're excited to see how you get on with that, because we know that it's a super useful thing, very practical, and it helps you to share who you are as a researcher, but what research it is that you're doing. So we let you talk about research by then. Week 3 is all about talking about your research. So have you noticed how smiley everybody is as well? Look, everybody's so lovely. And that's true, actually. You're in safe hands. These guys are very experienced in pitching and storytelling for researchers. So how do you stand in front of someone who's never met you, who doesn't know a thing about what it is that you're doing, and persuade them to do something that's going to help you? And that could be take part in the research, fund it, give you a job, who knows? It could get you a place at an international conference. The options are endless. So this is one of the most involved weeks, where you will be providing your examples of how you would talk about your research, and you'll get some direct feedback from each of the team, Jill, Billy and Duncan, on what that means for them as an audience and how you can improve upon that. And this is the training that I mentioned, Caroline, who won the £1.6 million funding recently. She used all of the principles from this teaching in her pitching, and the feedback really stated that she'd done something slightly differently than they're used to, and it really stood out for all the right reasons. So I think that this week is one of the most career changing, let's say. So hopefully by the end of that, you'll have something super useful for you to use as and when you need it. And then the final week of content is Jenny Smith. Now, Jenny, I don't know if you've met Jenny before. She's a local lass. She's from Durham, I think. And she's one of the most effervescent, bubbly, bouncy, happy people that you could ever meet. And her expertise is in networking. And very often when we say networking, everybody hides under the table and thinks, I don't have any business cards. That's not me. I don't know how. We don't mean that. We mean, how do you provide help for others based on your emerging expertise and your establishment within your industry, but also how do you ask for help, or how do you know who to ask for the next best step for you? And Jenny's very much focusing on researchers for this. So the principles for networking are about human behavior, so can be applied to any situation, but we're really talking about researchers here. And she does it in such a fun way. But for all of those who are now going, no, I'm still an introvert, please don't make me talk to people, which is me, she does it in such a way that you will not notice that it's something that you previously found painful, but now can really see the value in. But more than just going, yes, it's important, she'll give you the tools and techniques to apply it and that is also online. So right now we're all in our box rooms or in our dining rooms. How do you go and speak to people that you've never met? And Jenny's genuinely one of the top experts in the country on this, so we're very lucky to have her. Duncan joins us again to talk about how do you provide all of this online for anyone who needs to hear it. So how do you present yourself? What tech do you need? How do you manage an online event? I know that some of you are already experts in that, but he'll give you a slightly different spin on it, so to help you stand out again for the right reasons, and will really help you to tie everything that you've learned over the past 4 weeks into one place to be able to then provide that. A lot of the principles that you'll listen to and learn from and apply can be used both in person when all of this is over with, so they've promised us, but also in the duration, because who knows how long we will be working online for. I think that the online world will remain for researchers in many ways. So embedding these as behaviors is not going to be a bad thing. So hopefully that's all useful to you. Just to give you a super brief overview of what we mean by your time with us. As I've mentioned, this isn't something that you can just sit through and hope will end soon. This is something for you to get involved in. Colleagues laugh at me because I often say you can't learn to swim in a library, you've got to get in the pool. So we're all very safe and comfortable with our books and our kit and our people who speak the same way and behave the same way in the environment that we're used to. And this is a program to step slightly out of that comfort zone and try a few new things in a safe environment. So most of it is interactive. There'll be a strong focus on networking, and that's internally, as in within the cohort, but we'll also group you so that you get to know each other a little more, and you've got people that you can ideally call on at any point beyond the program to say, this is a problem, can you help? Or remember that time when this amazing thing has happened as a result. So we're big fans of championing each other and showing off a bit. That's not a bad thing. You are welcome to do that. But all of that sounds noisy and busy and bouncy, and we need some time to just stop and think and have a bit of time to pause and say, what just happened? What does that mean for me? And what will I do as a result? That's a really key question, is to really focus on, so what? I've been given this, what now? And again, if you need the help, we can help with that and help you move on. So what versus how is really thinking about your ideas. So I know that some of you are interested in intellectual property and potentially developing some ideas. It's not for everyone. Just as an aside on that, on week 1, there is an optional module on intellectual property that Simon takes you through, and I can help a lot with that as well. We've got some really good contacts at each university to help with intellectual property. What we mean by what versus how is, during the time that you're with us, we will be asking you, what is your research? What is it that you want to achieve by it? What's the point? And we've had people in the past, again, hide under the table. You'll find this as a theme. And we've encouraged them out from under the table by saying, just tell us what you're doing. You don't have to tell us how you're doing it. And the what is actually really important, because, and you'll learn this through the storytelling training and the pitching, it's more engaging to hear about you as a researcher and the purpose of your research. So why are you doing it? Not necessarily how. The how can wait for those who need to know how. There's no one on this program that needs to know exactly intricately how you're going to go about it. So protect your valuable ideas by just sharing what you're doing this for and who it will benefit. Bear that in mind, keep that principle in your head at all times, and that'll prevent you from sharing too much. And it's a good principle to take forwards into any sort of external communication about your research as well, certainly on social media and things like that, which is increasingly becoming a platform for researchers to share their successes. Revealing the how is only for certain audiences, and it's not for here. If you want to, you can, but there's no expectation from us. If you're uncomfortable, let me know and we'll talk about it further. We'll encourage you back from under the table. Okay, let's have a look. You'll hear me talking quite often, and the other facilitators will, about an entrepreneurial mindset. Now, normally when I talk about, I'm an enterprise advisor at Newcastle University, as is Laura, and we mention enterprise and people go, no, not me, which doesn't mean me, and look out the window and they think about what they're going to have for lunch. And we know that. Dun, 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 we've learned that. So we're not here to ever persuade you to start a business. That's not what you're here for. We get it. It would be inappropriate. However, the thing that we're encouraging you to do is consider the benefits of having an entrepreneurial mindset, and that's about behavior again. This is about looking at the world from a curiosity point of view. And lots of you have said this morning that you're curious, which is great. It's a natural behavior for researchers, so we've found over the years. And it allows you to look at societal problems and issues and think, how can I contribute to the solution to this? What will I do? And it's not just the thinking part, sitting there and pondering, all part of the process, but what makes it different is actioning those ideas. So making positive change happen, realizing that you have a valuable contribution to societal challenges, and realizing that actually the world's looking to you for part of this contribution. So it all comes full circle to the feelings of what it is to be a researcher. And it helps you to feel part of something bigger than your research. So again, questioning not just what you're good at, but what are you good for? That's what we mean by entrepreneurial mindset. Now, we pick apart that quite a lot in terms of the principles behind it, the pedagogy about how we go about immersing you in that mindset. Now, some people, as a result of that, will say, actually, I have an idea. I hadn't realized that it could be a credible idea. If you do, come and talk to us. We'll help you out. For the most part, 98% of you will say, it's not going to lead to anything more than me thinking about how I approach my research differently. And that's the point. So you can relax, you can unfold your arms and say, oh, she does mean me, because I mean you. And that's a really important thing to remember throughout the whole process. We have a glossary of terms on the canvas, which will help you to really understand what we mean by each word. So if you've got any other thoughts as well about what those words mean for you, then let me know, because we can add that to the conversations. This is really important, particularly at the minute. Rules of engagement, what do we mean? This is about what we expect from you and what you can expect in return. So this has never been more important than it is right now on Tuesday, the 12th of January and beyond. We know that life is upside down and you've got a lot going on right now. And even for those whose days aren't quite as hectic because things are closed or you haven't got access to stuff, your head's still full to the brim with what if and when and really, and oh my goodness, that's my daily life. So I'm assuming that it's similar for most. And we're really encouraging you to look after yourselves. So if this isn't working for you, let me know. Don't just drop out, come and have a conversation with me. As I said, I'll make myself as available to you as I can. Speak to each other as well. Learning that behavior of asking for help of others can only ever be a good thing, and really take time to understand what it is that you need from this. If you need to stay in bed all day, do that. If you need to work at 3 in the morning, do that. But we're really thinking about how you engage with the program as well. So for the live sessions, we ask that you arrive as best you can on time. It's not always going to be possible. The phone might ring. The 7-year-old might need to tell you it's snowing. It doesn't matter. Do your best to be here on time, but be comfortable. Stay in bed with the duvet up here if you need to. We've had that before. And be positive. Bring an open mind. Have a big smile. And think, oh, what might today bring? Because with that positive attitude, there's an awful lot more that's possible. But we're not forcing you to smile. That's a horrible thing to insist that you do. It's more about how you position yourself for that hour and a half that we're together. And if you need the help, then come and ask for it. And take care of yourself. Also, just as an aside, I think it's worth, I mentioned this at the beginning, there's going to be some problems and some mistakes. I'm going to make them. And it makes me human. And I'm well experienced in all of this, but it's still going to go wrong sometimes. And I encourage you to let yourself off the hook a bit with that. And some stuff's going to go wrong and no one else is watching. So this really is a safe place for you to make some mistakes, but be reflective about what your response to those mistakes are. How did it make you feel? Was that okay or not? What would you do differently? What have you learned from finally professionally being allowed to mess up sometimes? Because that's not a common feeling in our professional lives. So have a go at that. We're nearly done in terms of this, and we're going to hear from you guys in a sec. I mentioned that you can come and ask for help, and I really mean it, because, pardon me, we've set up as many opportunities for you to speak to myself and the team, the facilitators, but also each other. Some of you have joined in with sharing who you are on the main Teams channel. It's my absolute favorite thing in the world. Just as I have permission to do this, but my favorite two from, pardon me, from last year. One person told me about a time when she got into a car at Central Station in Newcastle, thinking that it was a colleague picking her up. 5 minutes into the journey, they realised they didn't know each other, and she'd gotten into the wrong car, so had to be taken back and dropped off back at Central Station to get into the other car that was meant to take her where she was going. And then somebody else managed to get so lost on a charity fun run that they ended up going through the finish line the wrong way. So it's my absolute favorite part of the program, is getting to know who you really are. So share with us your wild and wonderful stories, because it makes you human and it makes me smile and it makes everybody happy. So that's a good thing. So the main Teams channel is a place to do that, but it's also a place to share how it's going for you. It's a place to post some of your evidence of what you've been doing, and your to say, this is my recording of my pitch, or this is how I would talk about my research. What do you guys think? And to get some feedback from the group. You've also been put into smaller groups, so that there's a maximum of 6 within a smaller group, because some of the work will be groups, some of it will be paired up. And because there's 6 of you in a group, it gives those who can't engage as often the chance to just step back a little bit, and there's always somebody there should be, to help you out. If you find that group isn't working for you, come let me know and we'll change things around. It's not a big deal. We have seen everything and we'll manage all of that with you. There's also the chance to come and have a chat with me. I'll make myself available on Mondays on Teams. Just say, Jenny, I need a chat, and we can have a live call one-to-one. And I can do some coaching with you as well. So this is a good opportunity for you to get some really focused on you time. So if you need a professional coach to give you some career planning and some help and some navigation through this program, then come and ask me, and I'll make myself available to you for that. There's also lots going on Twitter. Now, not everybody's on Twitter. We get that. It's just a place for us to do this externally. Lots of people are interested in you as researchers. Lots of people are interested in Northern Accelerator. So it's a good platform for you to really go and say, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing and this is why. And maybe even apply some of the learning that you'll get from the program and showcase it on Twitter. We can help you with that, but you don't have to. So there's no expectation that you'll only exist on social media in this way. There's potential for us to run what's called a 10 days of Twitter course, but that's part of the bigger Action for Impact community. And if you use the hashtags on Twitter, pardon me, that are up on the screen now, you'll also open the doors to previous cohorts. As I've said, there's over 200 people that have come through the doors. And they're all really, really supportive. They've sat where you are now going, what? She's talked for ages. When will she stop? And then got stuck into the work. And they're very supportive of people who are coming up behind them. On the Canvas, on the Canvas course, you'll see that there's lots of case studies of people who've done the course and what they've applied it to, the learning that they've applied and what they've gained from that. So if you want to have a chat with any of those people, let me know and I'll put you in touch. You can have a chat with them. They're from all 4 universities as well, so it's not just a Newcastle-centric thing. And we're here to help. So there's no such thing as a silly question. The only daft questions are the ones you don't ask. Quite often we find it's beneficial if you post your questions in the main Teams channel, because other people might have the same question, and I can help with that. I'll pick it up. I won't get involved in your smaller group communication conversations, because that's up to you, unless you need me to. So if you put an @Jenny, then I'll see it. Otherwise, I'm going to leave you to it. And none of the chats are saved or recorded. So everything on there is simply for those who are in the room right now. It's a safe place to be. If you need to drop out, if you need to change things, it's not going right, it's not for you, come and talk to me. I'm not going to persuade you to stay. I'm just going to understand a bit more about what it is that's going on for you and hopefully find a better alternative for you. So have the conversations. I think I've said that enough now. I think you know that you can come and talk to me. Okay, great. I'm going to stop sharing there. Okay, great. Hello, everybody. I can see you now. I've just talked to a screen for an hour. And it's nice to see that you're all still here. So are we all still? Okay, do we need to get up and have a bit of a move? No, we're okay? Because when we're in person, I think it's quite important to have a bit of a stretch. So if at any point you need to stand up and just do this, then we're not going to suddenly go, oh, what's Ahmed doing? Why is he stretching in that way? Just get it done. It's fine. Okay, great. So hopefully you've got an understanding of why we're here and who we are and what the point is. Good. Right. What would be really useful, and Jackie, I need you here for this, please, is if we can pop you into smaller breakout rooms in your groups that we've already assigned. Now we've mixed everybody up. One thing that you'll have noticed from the photos of the people who've done the course is that no one had a Durham hat on and a Newcastle t-shirt and a Sunderland armband and a Northumbria balloon. You couldn't tell who was from which university, and we do that on purpose so that you get that mix of experience and expectation, and it's the same in your smaller groups now. So it'd be really good if we can put you into groups. Jackie's going to do that. We're going to give you 10 minutes, so it's not forever, because I'm conscious of time. What I'd like you to do is just introduce yourself. Hello, my name is Stacey. I am from which university, and let us know something that worked for you in the last lockdown that you want to continue doing during this lockdown. And it can be as wild and wacky as you want, or actually quite serious and professional and important for your role. What we're not doing is talking about your research, because 10 minutes isn't long enough. So it's about who is Carl, who is Marina, what are you going to tell us about you, and how lockdown went for you last time and what you'll do next. What I'd like to do is nominate a spokesperson so that when we come back, I'm going to ask that person to just share a few top tips, because the rest of us get to hear it that way. And we recommend you go in alphabetical order. So there's a little bit of brain working out to be done as well. But it's up to you. It's just one way to manage the room. What we don't want is you to go into a breakout room and go, because that's really awkward. So spokesperson, go in alphabetical order, find out a bit more about each other, and then we'll bring you back automatically after 10 minutes. If you want to come back sooner, you can, I think. We'll let you. Okay, so Jackie, you're all smiling and waving. Hooray! Nobody's arm wrestling. Nobody's pointing. Fantastic. Okay, well done, everybody. Thank you very much. So hopefully you've just spent the past few minutes getting to know each other, laughing at each other, going, really? I would never have thought that of you. And potentially learning some good top tips on how to cope with lockdown again. So who was a spokesperson? Who was the nominated person for your group? If you can just wave at me. Ben. Okay, Sardar, can we go first with you? Can you unmute yourself? Are you able to do that, or do you need Jackie's help with that? Fantastic. Right. Can you first tell me how to pronounce your name so we get that right?
Sardar.
Sardar, thank you. That's perfect. Can you share with us 2 or 3 top tips of what people have done during lockdown that really helped them, so we can all learn from that? Thank you.
Well, I think one of the most important things, it looks like almost everybody in our group found a way during lockdown to kind of enjoy life and look at the bright side. A few people got new puppy, maybe just before during lockdown, and they tend to kind of use that as a way to brighten their day and have some fun away from desk, from other stress and stuff like that. We also have a few engineering, and they tend to use their skills and engineering principles to some real world or some part of their life, maybe fixing stuff in their house, instruments and things like that they've got, or using the engineering views to look at the world in a different way that would be helpful to them. We've got people who also goes out doing some activities outdoor, getting some sun for vitamin D, running, jogging, walking, etc. So that's a common thing from our group, that everybody find a way during this difficult time to enjoy their life and stay healthy and optimistic as well. But also we've got a few mechanical engineering or other type of engineering where they share common stuff, and they probably find a common ground to have good conversation about research and science, stuff like that. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm really glad that worked out. Thank you for that summary. It's really helpful. And for the most part, we hear that people are still staying positive, and as a group, you are a positive group. So remember that for the days where you're going, I can't do this anymore, it's too hard. Tap in and say, hello, it's hard. How are you doing? And somebody could show you their puppy or the thing they fixed, or say, let's have a chat. Let's just draw pictures together. I don't know. We've had so many different ways of coping with that. So getting outside is a good thing. I live at the coast, and although it's the busiest place on the planet right now, it's still my go-to place when things are just a bit too boxed in. I'm in the little bedroom at home, so brilliant. Thank you, Sadar. That's really helpful. Who is our next team member, or team, what should we say, spokesperson? Who was nominated? Anybody want to talk? Anybody who wasn't into that? Thank you, Kate. Thank you. You saved me there.
I was hoping someone was going to jump in for me, because literally just as the last 5 seconds came, they went, we'll nominate Kate. She wants it. So
write that down. Make a note of that for next time. Brilliant. Okay, Kate, what did you find in your group then?
I think there were 2 main themes that came out of the group. It's a really, really lovely group. So cheers for putting us all together. Is that, actually, my favourite one is the gardening. So we had someone that's really got out into their allotment, and that's really helped with kids, because we had sort of people that are trying to manage kids and life and research. Yeah, like all of you that have kids, you are amazing. I don't know how you do it. So that apparently was really good for when kids had their playgrounds closed. And obviously gardening is just so therapeutic. And if anybody does love to garden and needs seeds, please just shoot me a message, because I have so many seeds that I probably won't use this year because my garden's tiny. So and then I think another theme, so it was gardening and cooking, so basically dialing up a hobby of yours to release. And then another thing that really came out for all of us is most of us overdid whatever it was we were trying to do to cope with the lockdown the first time, and then are now having to dial it back for the second lockdown and going, okay, take breaks, don't cook too much, don't exercise too much. It's okay to just not be doing anything for a while.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and it's one for us all to remember. The team that provide this program for you are very aware of this, that on one hand, many of us are saying, well, we've done this before, it's going to be okay. And then on the other hand, we're saying, but we've done this before, we're so tired. There's an awful lot that we need to just dial back and make space for our thoughts and our sleep, and just looking after each other as well. So although the program is very involved and there's lots for you to do, you can manage it in your own way, and you can say, next time we're gonna do this differently. You know, for next week, I'm gonna just relax a bit. So yeah, good point. So there's already orders for seeds coming through, Kate. So there you go.
Excellent. We'll have a chat.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward as well, because you know that life continues beyond Action for Impact. So we want in the summer to see the results of the seeds that have been planted, the courgettes that have been grown. Yeah, there we go. So, and the puppies that have grown as well. We want all the photos. So puppies.
Anybody here have a puppy that they can show us? I'm so sorry to jump in, but I'm just dying for a puppy.
So everybody share photos of puppies with Kate. It might not be your puppy, but it'll make her happy anyway. We can do that. And then the final group, have we got anybody who's brave enough to share our
Yes.
Can you help me with that? Thank you.
Yes, so the feeling were very similar to what Kate said. So basically what people really lost the feeling of time, the concept of time, and a new lockdown proposition could be for sure time managing, but not only time managing. It also came out to be like maybe feeling managing. I don't know how to explain this in English, but try to just be calm, try to take things in the proper way without overreacting, because sometimes it can be overwhelming. And in terms of solution, really the same. Cooking seems to be the mainstream in dealing with stress. And but yeah, apparently the group has been active anyways because they do related job to the situation. So life didn't change much. Okay. And one more thing that seems to be a bit of a problem was being able to adapt to these new tools. So and quickly adapt to changes, because sometimes situation is very uncertain. So good thing could be being able to adapt to, okay, tomorrow, no, we cannot do it tomorrow, I'm sorry, or we're gonna go back in the lab or back in the lecture next week, and then all of a sudden it's nothing is happening, and that could be a bit frustrating. So frustration management could be also very good.
Yeah, and it's a good summary. And I think, you know, there's 4 universities represented here, and I think we can all say that that's been a very consistent inconsistency throughout all of the 4 institutions, where the message comes in, boom, do this. Actually, we didn't mean that. Change it and do that. And nobody's making those communications lightly. So we believe everything that's coming along, and then we all go up a height, and then actually it changes because all of the situations and circumstances change, and managing that, it feels like the rug is constantly being pulled. So again, being honest about how we respond to that, I think this is a good place to share that and to check in with each other. I know that speaking with my own colleagues and saying, how are you doing, is reassuring for me that they're freaking out as well. I mean, I don't wish this on anybody, but just that you're not on your own with it, that everybody has got a certain level of the unknown, and we as a researcher community are really good with looking for evidence of something factual. So it's, again, really outside of our comfort zone to exist with that all of the time. So yeah, so being kind to yourself, absolutely, and self-care is absolutely important, and we are huge champions of that. Now, one thing I would say, just as a final point on that before we finish, is if you find additional ways during this lockdown within your institution that other colleagues are doing that you can see might be useful, share them, and let's make that a thing, that we are always having one ear and one eye on how we should cope with this. And all of it is welcome, you know, because you can pick and choose. So there's nothing that's an instruction here, it's all of a suggestion. And you can tap in and use it how you need to. Okay, thank you for that. It's really good to meet you all. Thank you for joining in and for having those conversations. The groups that you are in. So when you find that there's an activity with the group, go to your particular group on the Teams channels and have a chat with each other. But you're not siloed off, and that's the only people you're allowed to speak to. You are encouraged to speak to everybody. So be brave and step outside your comfort zone, because not a great deal happens in the comfort zone. More things, curious and exciting things happen if you just step outside, even just slightly. On the back of this, when we leave in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to go onto the canvas and I'm going to release all of week 1's content. You have until we finish in February to access that content. But as I've said, there'll be activities that we encourage you to have a look at each day. All of it's released, it's not day by day, so you can burn through the lot today if you want to. Let me know if you do, because that will be a first. We're joined by Simon Brown next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Simon will host the session, I'll be there, but he will take you through the types of, he'll take you through the activities that he's set for you for this week. If you've got questions for him in the meantime, post them on the Teams channel, he will see them and he can respond to you as and when he can, but I can as well. So I know his stuff, he can answer much more in depth than I can, but you won't be ignored is what I'm trying to say. We'll make any announcements that we need to make through Canvas and Teams, so we'll duplicate just because people exist in different places. If there's a really important thing like the whole thing is off or we're doing extra stuff, we'll email you so that we know that it's going to get to you no matter what. But remember where I am and remember what I'm there for, and come and ask for help along the way. Okay, we can talk, Nida, about your Canvas details. So let me have a look at that. I'll email you and we can work that out together. Is it possible to add Zoom details in the calendar? Yes. So for each one, you have a different Zoom link for each session, just because we've got a different facilitator for each session. So we will post that in the Canvas calendar, and I will also put it into Teams, so you can just copy and paste it into Zoom. We'll make all of that as easy as you can, so you don't have to keep going, where's that email? What did she say? What was that? So yeah, we'll make that as easy as we can. Any other questions right now? Let me know in the chat, not in the comments. But thank you. Sorry, Sadar, yes, can I help?
Just wondered if you could elaborate about the video upload about OSL. Is that just general, any topic we can talk, and just a short couple of minutes video we need to upload?
So the upload of the video, there'll be very clear instructions on what that is for your week one. It's called a verbal business card. So it's basically just a short introduction to you and your pitch. It sounds horrifying and it's actually really straightforward. It's just tricky to get it right straight away. There's loads of guidance, there's loads of help. Kate, you don't need to worry, we will look after you, and we will you can post up whatever you come up with so that your colleagues can give you some feedback, and everybody so far is super positive and supportive, so let's continue that, please. You can start it in your smaller groups first. This is what people tend to do. They record it, they share it with somebody at home, then they post it on their group Teams channel, so there's only 5 other people that will see it, and then if they're brave enough, they post it on the big main group so that the whole cohort, there's 18 of you by the way, the whole cohort can see. Not everyone will do that, and that's okay, but you've got to be in it to win it. So have a good go at it and see how you feel. And having that reaction, Kate, is not a bad thing, because it is scary and we know that. We don't do easy stuff on this, because what's the point? But you are held carefully and you are supported, and at no point will you crash and burn and fail and cry. It won't happen. Okay, so if you want to speak to anyone else who's sat there and gone in the past, we can put you in touch and see how they got on as well. So yeah, we can help you with all of that, and it's purposeful. We don't just ask you because we like going, hee, look how uncomfortable they are. It's because you get asked to do this a lot, and it's all building up to you creating a really engaging story of your research, which you'll have by the end of week 5. So bit by bit, okay? Don't worry, it's fine. Nida, I'll get in touch with you about your Canvas question. Anything else, let me know. You know where I am. Enjoy your day, and well done, everybody. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next Tuesday, but hear from you in between. All right, thanks, Carl. All the best. All right, take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.